nothing his fault.
When council were looking at the trust fund accounts a few months ago, it was evident that there still is in some people's minds some confusion about it. And it was suggested that when we had a fellowship meeting and there was an opportunity and we didn't have a guest speaker, that we could actually just spend a couple of minutes just running through how it works. So if you understand it, that's fine, and I'm sorry for boring you with it again. But there, as I say, there seems to be some evidence that there was some confusion. So here we go. The trust fund essentially has three pockets of money in it. The first pocket of money is money raised for a specific charity or for a specific purpose. So the money is there only for a short time, hopefully, and then it will be... it's only there for a short time before we pay it over to the charity or pay it out for the specific purpose. Then there's money in there that's been raised for local charities. So we've said, like the money we raise from the sleigh, we say to the public that we've raised the money and it will go to local charities. So although it's not earmarked for anything specific, it can only be used for local charities. And then there's money that is available to be used for any purpose we decide. Most of the money that can be used for any purpose we decide comes into the trust fund as gifts from the members, since we rarely run an event for general purposes. So the money in the trust fund that we can give when there's a national or an international disaster, or if you want to give money to a national charity, or indeed to our own charity, the Rotary Foundation, has to come from that third pocket, as it were. Now, so the first bit of confusion seemed to be that there are some members who weren't aware that there's a possibility of gift-aiding money into our own club's trust fund. That's the first thing, and I'm sure Yakat would be willing to give you a gift aid form or whatever and to speak to you about that if you weren't aware of that. What I had said when coming to the club to ask for, in the past, and Michael King did before me, to ask for money to go to our own charity, the Rotary Foundation. Clearly that has to come from this third pocket as well. And what I've been saying is, to the extent that members might like to fill in a gift aid form, which I've got to supply, funnily enough, and give money directly themselves to Rotary Foundation, to the extent that members would do that, then the amount of money that we would need to come to the club to give to Foundation from this third pocket would thereby be reduced in future years. And that would give more money in this third pocket for paying to give to other international charities and disasters and that sort of a thing. So far, only about 4 members have signed a gift aid form, and I'm grateful to them. I thank them very much for doing that. But if more members would do that, what we've been saying is £5 a month would make you a sustaining member of Foundation. For most Rotarians, £5 a month is not a great deal of money, gift aided. Sustaining member of Foundation is someone who's pledged to give $100 a year, and there's a little badge, the one I'm wearing, to acknowledge that you've done that. But what I've been saying to clubs as I've been going around is, if every Rotarian in the district would just give £5 a year, it would make £11,000 a year difference to the amount the district gives to Foundation. So even a small amount makes a huge difference. So we just wanted to clarify those things, and hopefully it has been a clarification rather than a confusion. So thank you for your attention, and thank you to moderator for giving me the time to do it. Thank you.
Yeah, can I just put it on? I think that did clarify the situation. I was the one. From the club's point of view, though, we as a club make a donation to the club every year, don't we? We do, yeah. That's not determined in any way by the amount. It's not a levy, is it?
Absolutely not.
Each year we decide as a club what we will give to the foundation as a club. And as you say, we draw on that from the money which is in our own trust.
No. Right, no. There's the money you give as individuals to the trust fund sits there in this third pocket, and it's out of that. When myself or before me, Michael would go to council and would say, I'd like to propose that we give, I don't know, for the sake of argument, £1,500 to foundation from the club. It has to come out of that third pocket. This money that's there for using for any purpose we decide. What I'm saying is that if members, to the extent that any member will sign a gift aid form and give money not to the club's trust fund, although we'd like to do that, but direct to foundation, then that still counts towards the club's giving, and therefore the amount of money that myself or any successor foundation officer would have to come to the club to ask for would thereby be reduced, leaving more money in the club's trust fund for us to use for other purposes. Now, of course, an example of the money from this third pocket, we actually, I have now sent off the money for the Brazilian Street Kids project that we're supporting our twin club in Germany to do. We put £1,000 from that. I suppose that's slightly different because it was money raised specifically from the quiz night, so it was a sort of earmarked thing. But it came out of the trust fund and that's sent off. But the benefit of doing it as a foundation grant is that we were able to get 3.5 times the amount of the money we put in. So for our £1,000, £3,500 went into that project because it was matched by district and matched again by foundation centre. So by supporting foundation, you can do a much bigger project than if we funded it from our own pockets.
I understand it, Colin. Just clarify that you mentioned 3 pockets. The first one you mentioned, I got it right, was the sums raised for specific charity purposes. But certainly the quiz night of £1,000 or whatever was raised. That's what we've gone into pocket number 1, albeit we decided to apply it with a foundation grant.
Yes. We went into pocket number 1 and went straight out. So, yeah.
What was pocket number 2?
Pocket number 2 is the money that's raised from the sleigh or whatever that is available to use as we wish, but only for local charities. So we couldn't have used it to support the Brazilian Street Kids project, or we can't give it to disasters.
From what you said, there is no criteria that you have to put a certain minimum to the foundation.
No.
Thereby, how does an individual's contribution to the foundation affect it? If you have got a minimum term. Suppose the club here, say £600 a month, a year, went off to its foundation through this year. Then the club.
Yeah, there's no levy for foundation. We as a club decide how much we would like to give as a club to foundation, and the club agrees that, and that's how much goes off. Obviously, I've been trying to encourage the club to give a bit more, but to the extent that individual members would give to foundation directly, then the amount that I then have to come to, because I can include that in my sum, so I can come back to the club and say, well, actually, I'd quite like the club to give £2,000 to foundation this year, which is up from last year, but we've got a number of members giving directly to foundation, so actually I only need to ask the club for £1,500, which is less than we sent this year. You see what I'm saying? So the club as a whole ends up giving as much or more, but it's coming directly from members rather than out of this third pocket. That makes sense. I need a slide.
Yes,
I know Colin hasn't said it, and I'm sure most people know, but I'll just remind you that we do get 28% of the money that we put in ourselves as a foundation back as a tax rebate, and of course the foundation itself does as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you.
Do we as a club get a match grant if we spend from the third pot?
You can.
You can. So if we select a project
Yeah.
and we execute that project and we pay for it from the third pocket, which is essentially a collection from all of us,
Yep.
earmark for foundation. And this
Earmark for a project, and if the project qualifies for a matching grant, then certainly we can apply for that.
that would be the way to go about it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what we pay out, we get back.
Yeah.
Otherwise not.
And more,
And more.
potentially. The more people use the foundation, matching grants and that sort of thing, the more you can get back, and actually potentially you can get a lot more back than you put in fact.
Jacko?
What are you saying, pocket one, pocket two, in the account, I call it restricted income, restricted. I'm not calling it pocket three, it's all about free income.
I think that's another point, really, isn't it? These changes to the pockets, it's easier.
I thought they'd understand pockets.
Can I just round that off by saying, fellows, that the band evening, which we ran earlier in the year, was our first attempt to actually top up pocket three, because up until then, all the fundraising we do has been committee income. So that's put on both.
No, that's going to the public.
Let's go to the club, that's pocket four, I didn't mention.
It's available to the club to spend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.